everybody. Welcome to The Point. I'm your host, Anna Kasparian, and we have an awesome show ahead for you guys, including two panelists that I'm obsessed with. We have a returning panelist who hasn't been on the show for a while because he's so busy, okay? Hank Chen, you are the shit. Thank you for joining us on The Point today. Hank Chen is an actor and comedian, and you always like to spice things up, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. So good to be back, Anna.
All right. And also we have Karamo Brown, television host, insanely hot guy. I don't know if you're following him on Snapchat, but you should be.
Should I do this as well?
Yes, yes. It's the gay boy panel today.
Exactly. It is the gay boy panel.
Here we are. This is just frame it, frame it.
All right, we're gonna have so much fun today. Unfortunately, we do have to start off the show with some pretty terrible news regarding Bill Cosby. But later on in the show, we will talk about female masturbation, something that, now that I think about it, no one on this panel has any interest in. But nonetheless, we'll have a good conversation about it. So let's get started with the first story. As I said, it is a doozy, and it is unfortunate, but it's important to talk about. The Associated Press obtained testimony that Bill Cosby gave under oath, indicating that he admitted to purchasing drugs with the intention of using them on women that he planned on having sex with. Now, the drug of choice was Quaaludes, and during that testimony, not only did he confess that he bought the Quaaludes because he intended on using it on women, he also confessed that he used drugs on a particular woman who was filing a lawsuit against him for rape, a Temple University employee, and he also admitted that he used drugs on other people. Now, when it came to the Temple University employee, apparently, he didn't use the Quaaludes on her. He said that he used 3 half pills of Benadryl. But drugging a woman for sex is drugging a woman. And when you read the details of that lawsuit, it's unbearably difficult to read. I should also note that the case was settled out of court, so he didn't face any criminal charges for this, and he has never been charged or convicted of rape. And the statute of limitations has run out on a lot of these cases. Now, I want to read you a part of the deposition so you get a sense of exactly what he testified during the case. In a deposition taken in late September 2005, Cosby was asked by Dolores M. Troiani, Constance attorney, when you get the Quaaludes, was it in your mind that you were going to use these Quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with? Cosby replied, yes. He eventually settled the lawsuit with undisclosed terms. We don't know the amount of money, but since then, dozens of women have come forward with very similar stories, alleging that he drugged them and had sex with them, or drugged them and attempted to have sex with them. They're all very difficult stories to hear, and until now, there was really no hardcore evidence indicating that he did commit any of these crimes. But now we do have evidence, and I'm curious to see if anyone's mind has been changed as a result of that. Karamo, let me start with you. Make your point.
Yeah, I think it's pretty ridiculous. The fact that like Whoopi Goldberg and other people are still supporting him. I mean, I'm someone who's always going to stand with survivors. From day one, even before we had this deposition, I always said, when there's smoke, there's fire. And so clearly, there's some issue here with the fact that people are still supporting him, and the fact that he's admitted it, people still are like, oh, well, confusing Bill Cosby with his character Heathcliff Huxtable.
Yeah.
2 different people.
It's very, it's insane to me to see people like Whoopi Goldberg totally disregard this kind of evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand the people who would listen to the allegations prior to this, and they would think to themselves, all right, well, these allegations are bad, but we don't have any evidence. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But for those who now see the evidence and they just disregard it, I have no respect for them. You have to take into consideration that this guy confessed to buying drugs with the intention of drugging women. Hank, make your point.
Yeah, and to jump on top of that, he actually tried to prevent the release of this admission from 10 years ago, and that says something too. Hey man, if you got nothing to hide, show us everything. It's like everyone was trying to get Obama to show his birth certificate, or everyone was trying to get Romney to show his tax returns, and it's like, hey man, you got nothing to hide, let people know. I mean, when I get pulled over, I'm like, officer, if you want to search my car, you go right ahead, you will find nothing. So the fact that Bill Cosby wasn't upfront about this information, I mean, I'm bored by this whole situation. Just because he's admitted it now makes no difference.
All right. And I should also note, it's kind of incredible that, you know, this information came out, and this was information that people had about Bill Cosby back in 2005, and he still faced no prosecution for it.
Yeah.
This is a criminal behavior, but he faced no consequences for it. Now, here's the question for the story. What's one thing you've done in your past that you're not too proud of? Karamo.
sell Quaaludes to Bill Cosby? Is it too early for that? No.
Too soon.
Too soon for that joke? There's so many things I've done in my past. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm glad Snapchat and Facebook weren't around because you just saw me doing some dirty. I would not have a career right now. So I can't name and quantify just one.
You can't name one? There has to be one. Come on, Karamo.
That I regret?
That you regret. It's okay. I mean, I'm about to share some dirty.
Oh my goodness. Oh
there
my
was
goodness.
that Park Five-some, like, yeah.
Look, this is why I like having Karamo on the show. Okay, Park Five-some?
Yeah. I know. I'm that dirty gay.
Oh
Five.
my God.
And only 3 I think I knew their names.
Wow.
Oh
That's
my
the
God.
real issue here.
Okay, all right. This is why you watch The Point.
Exactly.
All right, Hank Chen. I don't know if you can one-up Karamo with that.
Don't one up
I
that.
definitely-
Please don't one up
Well,
that.
there was this 7-some. Just so you're not stranded out there, I mean, I probably have hooked up with some people that I don't remember names of, but I was going to say something that I'm not proud of on a more in line with this story is I feel bad sometimes when I haven't stood up for myself or someone who needed it. You know, where you don't stand up and say, this is not okay. You can't treat me like this or you can't treat so-and-so like this. And then you walk away and you kind of hate yourself a little bit and you hold on to that. And so from this past instances, I've known to speak up, but I would love to have sex with 5 people at the same time. So, you know, it's unfortunate you don't know all of their names.
You know, I think that's the difference between men and women because I don't want to have sex with 5 people at the same time. Like, I'm a little intrigued by 2 people at the same time. Maybe, but 5 people, like that's a lot.
That's a
you've
lot
got
of
a lot of
people.
stamina, Karamo.
Well, it's also a lot of coordination.
Yeah, it's a lot of coordination.
Yeah, it's a lot of, you know, you got to get fairness and switching and who's willing to do what.
You need one person who, like, you know, gives the orders, like that delegates. You know, all right. So you're gonna taste this, and you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna spank this. Okay, all right. I'm getting the wrap it up signal. Okay, I've done so many things that I'm not proud of, but I would say the most recent thing that I did that I wasn't proud of was. You know, lying to my significant other, not the one that I'm currently with, but the one that I was previously with, on my own birthday, planning a birthday outing with my friends and purposely not telling my boyfriend at the time about it because I didn't want him to be there. And I think back at that and I get really like the sick feeling in my stomach because I should have always been upfront and honest. And when it got to that point, I should have just been like, it's not working out. And I really, really hurt him. And I think I made myself look insanely bad. And I still feel guilt for what I did.
But you shouldn't. You needed that experience so that now you can have your amazing Christian.
Well, did you
That's true.
apologize
That's
to him?
true.
He got you.
I did, but apologies don't matter when there's a deception as bad as that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I just went out and partied all night.
Right. But you really hurt his feelings.
I did.
You knew
That's a terrible thing to do.
apologized,
I would be crushed if my current boyfriend did that to me.
Right.
So I feel bad about it. I don't know if he watches this show. Probably not. But if he does, sorry. All right, guys. Well, tell us one thing that you've done in the past that you're not too proud of. And also, do you still support Bill Cosby after this evidence came out? Maybe some of you do, and maybe you have a perspective that I'm not really looking into. I love hearing from you guys, so comment in the section below, and we'll see you soon. Donald Trump has been dominating the headlines now that he has announced his candidacy for the Republican ticket, but he's not dominating the headlines in the best possible way. You see, when he did announce his candidacy, he randomly decided to pick on Mexicans, and he said some pretty terrible things about Mexican immigrants. Let me give you an example. He says, when do we beat Mexico at the border? They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. He assumes that some are good people, right? Is he not merciful? Okay, so what's incredible about this story is that Donald Trump has many skeletons in his closet when it comes to the issue of undocumented immigrants. The Washington Post recently published an expose about some of his construction workers who are working on a luxury hotel in Washington, D.C., many of which came to the country illegally and then obtained citizenship status, and some who are still undocumented workers. Remember, these are people who are employed under Donald Trump, the person who claims that undocumented immigrants are rapists. But another thing that came out was a picture that Gabriel Sanchez tweeted out showing that some of the Donald Trump suits out there are made in Mexico. Oh, you know, the land where Donald Trump believes all the rapists come from. So Sanchez says the suit that he purchased with the Donald Trump brand cost him about $400. Now, Macy's, that carried this line, has decided to sever ties with Donald Trump because of his defamatory statements toward undocumented immigrants. In fact, his line includes products that come from India and China. So apparently he has no problem outsourcing jobs to all these other countries, but then he turns around and he says terrible things about people who try to enter the country to create a better life for themselves. Now, Donald Trump refuses to admit that Macy's is the company that severed ties with him. He's pretending as though he's the one who made the decision. Let me give you his ridiculous statement. He says, "I have decided to terminate my relationship with Macy's because of the pressure being put on them by outside sources. While selling Trump ties and shirts at Macy's is a small business in terms of dollar volume, my principles are far more important and therefore much more valuable." The notion that someone like Donald Trump has principles cracks me up. The man doesn't have two brain cells to rub together, much less something as complicated for him as principles. Hank, make your point.
Oh my goodness. The principle of having rapists and people you hate make your clothes. I mean, he needs someone to fix his hair. That's the predominant concern that I have for him. But I will tell you though, this is entertaining as hell. And I actually hope he makes it all the way to the primaries, because this will be the gold standard of television from this point forward. It's my favorite part is how he just thinks coincidentally we would all believe that he's going to sever ties with everybody.
Right.
Like, right, oh, this has nothing to do with your statement, but you're just now choosing to end a relationship with NBC, end a relationship with Macy.
Here.
Get the
He's
fuck out of here.
so full of it.
Crazy.
Karamo, make your point.
He's a complete hypocrite. This whole thing, like you said, is comical. I mean, the fact that he said that he's the one that severed ties, it just shows his ego. I mean, nobody takes this man serious. I've never taken this man serious. And the fact that when he started coming out against Hillary and the fact that he supported her, invited her around, like, it's, come on now. I don't take him serious. He's a television personality who lucked into a family that afforded him the luxury to call himself rich and call himself a businessman, but I don't truly think he's a smart businessman.
Oh, he's not a smart person,
Exactly,
much less
at
a
all.
businessman.
So,
I mean, he's so oblivious to anything that requires logic or rational reasoning.
Yes.
He's a joke. Now, here's the question, though. Have you ever boycotted something out of principle? Karamo.
yeah, I mean, here in LA, since my first answer was a little risque, we actually boycotted Chick-fil-A.
All right, I knew you were going to say that.
Stole mine.
Well, no, it's the Gay Boys
it's
panel.
True, it's
That's
true.
the truth. This was
That's
serious
true.
for us.
This is what I did.
Yeah, this
it's
was
for
serious
real.
for us. This
it's
was
for
like,
real.
I still to this day, though the owner of the Chick-fil-A that we were.
You do?
Yeah, I don't eat there.
I mean, that chicken is damn good though, but I really was disappointed when they said that, because I was like, oh my God, this food is so good.
So did you boycott it?
Yes, unfortunately I
Good
did.
for you guys.
I did.
So my answer is actually the same. I boycotted Chick-fil-A out of principle. And then I have a confession to make. Last year, I ended the boycott because their chicken is so freaking
so
good, man. And here's the thing, like,
Sin tastes good though, Anna.
Sin tastes so good.
Sin is
Just ask my
delicious.
boyfriend.
Yeah, sin,
Ow!
sin and ham.
Yeah, it does. It tastes really good. But you know, sometimes I'll ask for extra sauce and I won't pay for it.
Hello,
Yes.
hello.
Sorry.
Hey.
Okay, that's the protest.
That's right.
I'm showing them.
That's right.
Anyway, guys, but here's another thing. I've boycotted Walmart because of the way that they treat their employees,
Yes.
and I've kept up with that boycott. Mostly because there's like a billion other options in terms of shopping in Los
Right,
Angeles.
right.
But for those who live in areas where you can't do it, I understand. All right, guys, well, tell us what you think. Have you boycotted a business or a product out of principle? We do want to hear from you guys. We want to know what your political views are. And also, what do you think of Donald Trump? Do you think he's making a good point about undocumented immigrants? Comment in the section below, and we'll see you guys soon. Em Ford is an incredibly beautiful beauty blogger. In fact, she is from My Pale Skin, and recently she put together a video to show you the power of online trolling and the impact it has on women. Now, when it comes to the issue of beauty, of course, women are attacked regularly, and I think this video perfectly summarizes that. Take a look. All right, you guys should watch the full video. But that gave me chills just because I know exactly what that's about, and I also know what it's like to be a woman who has skin issues. Last year I was dealing with acne. For the last 3 years I've been dealing with a skin condition known as melasma, which leads to like these dark brown patches all over your face, and it's impossible to get rid of. And it's frustrating because it's something that you can't help. It's something that you try to fix, and it's difficult, it's expensive to do it, and then people base your worth on the way you look all the time. So I watched that and I feel like I can relate to it, and I feel terrible for her. But you know, you guys are men, and you deal with different...
but we're gay men.
You guys are gay men.
Which has a lot of... And straight men don't have it much easier either, as Beckham showed us, you know, 15 years ago. Guys have to look pretty too, gay or straight. But I think we are more judgmental, hate to say this, in the gay community, especially against ethnic minorities.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
But you guys are both so hot. Like,
so
I mean, come on.
You're so sweet. But you know, I'm not sure about your experience, but I would venture to guess that you and I have both been eliminated from potential dating pools for being black and for being Asian.
Yeah.
Gay men are very, very specific when it comes, you know, there's this whole meme, I mentioned this to you before, is no fats, femmes, blacks, or Asians. You know, sometimes people will dismiss you outright just because you're of a certain category, which is weird to me if you're in the gay community.
That's beyond weird, and it's hard for me to believe considering the way you guys look. I'm going to keep it real. But Karamo, what do you think about this? Make your point.
I mean, a big part of this is what he just said. You know, this is the culture we live in, the media, the country that we live in. It propels and makes people feel important who look a certain way, and that's white, blonde hair, blue eyes. And what I thought was really important about this video was that moment when she saw the compliment, she had this sense of false security.
Yes.
And she smiled.
Yes.
And that touched me because so many of us don't have the self-esteem in ourselves, and we look to other people to validate us. And I love that she showed that moment because it shows how wrong that is and that we all need to find the love in ourselves. I think what she's doing is important. I mean, we need to stop living up to these false values, and I'm a problem in this. You know, I'm a model, and so there's times that I just talked about the billboard I have, they lighten my eyes, and I'm like, it's sending out the wrong message, and it's sad what we do, and I don't know how we can change it, but like things like this start the conversation.
Yes, and it's so powerful because she's putting herself in the most vulnerable place by taking the makeup off and showing people what she really looks like without it. And by the way, she's still gorgeous. So she has acne issues. Who cares, right? All of us have skin issues at one point in our lives. It comes, it goes. And for people to call her ugly because of that just shows you that the people commenting have their own insecurities. And they're just trying to feel better about themselves by tearing someone else down. Classic bullying, right? Yeah. Okay, so here's the question for the story. How do you cheer yourself up when you're feeling down, Hank?
Oh, this is me when I'm feeling down. I'm done. I'm just out.
Yeah.
This will be the phone goes off. All the blinds come down, and
You're just sleeping.
I'm gone. I'm gone for 2-3 days.
You're a cute sleeper.
No.
I know. You are an adorable.
Dead possum on the road. I just play dead.
What about you, Karamo?
No one goes to alcohol and weed. Am I the only one here?
So he's active. He's active in his healing.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm very active in it. No, I think a big part of what I do when I'm feeling down is I surround myself with like people like you. Just people who are happy, loving, supportive.
So what do I do when I want to feel better? Sleep is definitely one of them. Weed is definitely one of them. And I also really like to run because running, look, it's the hardest thing to do when you're in a bad mood because the last thing you want to do is work out, right? Yeah. But at the end of that run, when the endorphins are going, you're just feeling great.
Yes.
And I talked about this on a post-game show before, but like I get frisky after I run. Does anyone else get frisky after they exercise?
Yes.
Like horny?
I mean, my mom's watching, and
I do. You're not alone.
You're feeling yourself.
You're like,
sometimes you're literally feeling yourself.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, where's my mag? It's not here. Okay. Anyway, tell us what you guys do to feel better. Comment in the section below. We love reading your comments, guys, and we will see you soon. A few months ago, a 12-year-old kid in Cleveland, Ohio, was shot to death by police officials because he was playing with a toy gun. He was shot within 2 seconds. That's the story of Tamir Rice. And when you consider stories like this, you should definitely reconsider buying the most ridiculous iPhone case that's ever been created. Now, this iPhone case is made to look like a gun. And when you put your phone in your back pocket, the handle part of the gun is showing, so it seems as though you're carrying a weapon. Now, the NYPD is very concerned about this because it could lead to unwanted deaths. So let me give you an example of what the NYPD is warning on their own Twitter page. They said, "I would not not suggest purchasing this cell phone case, which was designed to look like a firearm. Hashtag be safe, hashtag be smart. And they're absolutely right about this. Look, I've done a lot of negative stories about the NYPD recently and some of their police brutality. But they're correct in telling you guys that having something that's not a weapon made to look like a weapon can really put your life in danger, especially with all the police shootings that we've been hearing about, especially with all the stories involving individuals that have guns or firearms when they shouldn't have access to them. It's a dangerous world out there. You don't want people to think that you have a gun when you really don't. Another Facebook comment that was posted by the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office in New York, or New Jersey, I should say, says the following. Please, folks, this cell phone case is not a cool product or good idea. A police officer's job is hard enough without having to make a split-second decision in the dark of night when someone decides, without thinking, to pull this out while stopped for a motor vehicle violation. What do you think? I agree with that 100%. Now, apparently, this product has been taken off of Amazon, but you could still purchase it on other websites, including eBay. And if you want to put your life in risk, by all means, go ahead. But the company that created this is doing a huge disservice to people in general. Yeah. Karama, what do you think? Make your point.
100% agree. What I was most surprised by is when I went online, that a lot of people actually were defending this product and saying, oh, well, if you get the bright colored one, it doesn't look like a gun. Obviously, we know that doesn't look like a gun, but in the split second, a police officer, a civilian who may be carrying a real gun, who feels like they need to defend themselves, may see that and think that you do have an actual gun, even with the bright color. And so it's the most idiotic thing. I'm always surprised that people put profit over the safety of other human beings.
In America, that's the #1 thing that happens.
Which blows my mind. Yeah. I mean, obviously we see it with food, we see it in all these other products, but now you're having a cell phone case, which little kids are going to definitely use. This is targeted towards that 12 to 24 demographic. It's sad.
Absolutely. Hank, make your point.
I'm just going to do a little demo for you guys. Let's just pretend like I have one of those guns, okay? So hold on. Oh, my phone's ringing, guys. Hello?
Yeah.
What's going on? Hey, are we still good for dinner? Karam, now are you, right, give me 1 second. Anna, what were you saying again? Like, and when it comes to profits, it's not profitable. The liability on this is huge.
Yeah. It really is.
It's your right to do, but what happens when there's an accident? Then who's liable? You know what I'm saying?
And also keep in mind that right now we're living in an age of extreme paranoia because of the police brutality stories and also because of the gun violence stories that we've been hearing about quite a bit. So we are fearful because we think everyone has a gun, and if someone pulls out what seems to be a gun from their pocket in an aggressive manner, then we're going to fear for our safety, and some people might retaliate. So here's the personal question for the story. If you were a lawmaker, what law would you implement? Karamo.
I would gather all the idiots like this and put them on an island. It's like, you're an idiot, you're going to this island. I think Australia, that's how Australia was created. But,
damn!
I love Australians. But it's the truth. Didn't they take all the prisoners from the...
Oh, that's right. It used to be a prisoner's
island. Like a prison island.
Yes, back in the day.
They did do that.
Okay, I thought you meant modern day Australians.
No, I love my Australians. No,
Australians are awesome. Yeah. Okay, good that we clarified that. Hank, what about you?
I would do something about regulating student loans. I feel like that's a pain that many people, especially in the middle class, have to fight through. It was a pain in the ass for me to pay off all my student loans, so I wouldn't benefit from that now. But there's gotta be some kind of cap where it's like universities cannot charge this much. Universities have to subsidize this amount. It's like subsidized housing in New York. I wouldn't have been able to live in New York had it not been for my building being subsidized because of some amazing lawmakers' incentive.
You guys both have very noble causes. I especially love student loan.
Taking all the idiots away?
Well,
that's a good one. It is.
I think it's a noble cause. I think it would do the country very, very good things. Yeah. Okay, but the one thing that I would implement immediately if I had any kind of power is I would get rid of any parking meter on public streets. They're not allowed to exist anymore. And the reason why is because it's a regressive tax. Okay, it's one way that the city tries to raise revenue out of not taxing the wealthy their fair share. And then on top of that, those are streets that our tax dollars are already paying for. Yes. Why are we being taxed twice? It's crazy. Please raise taxes on those in the top 1%. People who get all these awesome corporate tax loopholes, they pay less in taxes percentage-wise in the middle class and the working class. Please stop doing regressive taxes on
for office.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very passionate
I
about
love that.
parking,
Right,
especially
right.
because I live in an area where parking is a rarity.
Scarce,
So,
right.
yes, very scarce. Anyway, tell us what you guys would do if you had the ability to implement any law. Which law are you most passionate about? And also, what do you think about this iPhone gun case? Maybe you think it's a great idea. Comment in the section below. Let us know, and we'll see you soon. There are a lot of inaccurate depictions online of women having sex. Now, of course, I'm talking about pornography, but what about women masturbating? When you see videos of women masturbating on porn sites, it's so sensual and it looks so artistic, right? In some cases, it looks a little vulgar. But one photographer actually wanted to capture what women really look like when they're masturbating. What do their facial expressions look like? Is it as sexy as you think it is? Well, we're going to give you an example. This is a series put together by photographer Lauren Crow. It's called The Little Death. And that's a questionable name, by the way, for something so pleasurable. But nonetheless, you get a sense of what she's doing. These are what the women look like as they are climaxing. And it's supposed to get rid of some of the stigma associated with female masturbation. And on top of that, she wants women to be less self-conscious when they are masturbating, which I think is an interesting cause because I don't really think women are that self-conscious when they're masturbating alone. They might be if they're masturbating in front of someone else, but anyway, I like that she's trying to take the stigma away, and I like the fact that she's trying to show us the reality. Karamo, what do you think about this? Make your point.
Actually, I think these photos are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like some of the photos, like she's like smiling like she just smelled cake or something. Like, I mean, I'm happy first of all that women are empowered and they're, you know, masturbating, doing whatever they need to do. But like you said, a lot of the girlfriends that I have, they're not embarrassed, and this is not something that they have a big issue with. Of course, coming from the lens of a man, I do like to see this being taken from a woman's point of view.
Yes.
And showing a woman, but kudos, everybody get your rocks off.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Hank, make your point.
I think it's beautiful. I mean, as Woody Allen once said, don't knock masturbation because it's sex with someone you love. And
I like that quote.
it's true, yes. And I think because being raised religious and being also raised in a conservative culture, I think there was a lot of stigma surrounding that. And I also hear that it extends to especially females who aren't always taught to embrace their sexuality. So a project like this that endorses it and celebrates it is wonderful.
So my takeaway is a little different. I think that there's always been stigma associated with masturbation.
There still is.
Especially in a country that's very right-wing and religious. But one thing that I did notice is that when it comes to the issue of masturbation, women are thought to be sexy when they masturbate, whereas men are thought to be a joke when they masturbate, right? Like, think of movies like American Pie. You know, he's having sex with a pie. Oh my God, he's so pathetic. He's a loser. If a guy gets caught with something like a fleshlight, I think that he'll be ridiculed for it, whereas a woman caught with a vibrator is the most normal thing in the world. So there is a double standard there, and I don't think that people are as willing to bring awareness to that double standard.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree
Do you
with
guys
you.
agree with
Yeah,
that?
I 100% agree
that's
with you.
interesting.
That's
Yeah.
the whole point I was making. Like,
That's interesting.
I'm used to seeing women in an empowered place when it comes to masturbation. So.
Yeah, me too. All right, so here's the question. Would you rather get caught masturbating or having sex, Karamo?
Both. Like, you follow me on Snapchat.
I do.
With how many people is the question?
Listen, as many, I'm an exhibitionist all the way. So if you want to watch, you can
my.
watch, you can log. Have fun, have at it.
I'm a twirl your earring too. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I do follow Karamo on Snapchat, and it's like my favorite
Is it
pastime.
cray? Is it cray?
It's not cray in a bad way. It's cray in
something
the
else.
best possible
Hello.
way.
Hello.
What about you? Would you rather get caught masturbating or having sex?
You know, I thought. Well, first of all, I don't do either. I was thinking ahead. I was thinking for the dignity of the other person. I was like, let's just, you know, I don't want to violate their privacy,
Yeah.
so I'll take it all on myself.
Oh,
no,
that's sweet.
Yeah.
You'll take it all on yourself.
No pun intended. Or pun intended.
Oh, there's pun intended
yeah,
there.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, I love it. I think I'd rather be caught having sex, just because I feel like I wouldn't be as embarrassed if there was another person involved. Like me diddling the little man in a canoe. That's just like, I'm sure I look kind of funny. I'm sure I don't look sexy while I do it. Like, I'd rather have someone catch me doing the deed with someone else. Anyway, but tell us what you guys would prefer. Would you rather get caught masturbating or having sex? We do love hearing the dirty, dirty details of your personal life. So comment in the section below. Also tell us what you think about this artist's work. Do you think it's an accurate depiction of female masturbation? And do you think there is a double standard when it comes to male masturbation versus female masturbation? Just throwing all those questions out at you guys. Answer in the section below. We do read your comments. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon. All right, that does it for this week's show. We're cutting it short, but I like that. It gives us more time to focus on the topics at hand. I want to give the audience an opportunity to find you guys. Hank, let me start with you.
Hello, find me on Hankster Chen on the Instagram and the Twitter and the Facebook. And then I'll be popping up on some TV thingies in the next few months. So I was just on Rosalind Isles. At the end of this month, I'll be on Baby Daddy on ABC Family. And then in the fall, you can find me on Switched at Birth, also ABC Family.
Not a big deal. I'm just I'm a TV star.
I'm not a star. I'm just thankfully gigging and paying my rent.
You're doing a
good
great
time,
job.
Good time, yeah.
Karamo.
Hi, everyone. You can follow me at Karamo Brown on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat if you want a good time. And also, you can catch me on a new show that I'm hosting on BET called PS BET Post Show. It's on live nightly at 10:30, 11:30, and so I'm excited about that.
Awesome. You guys can catch me on The Young Turks Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time when we live stream the show. Just go to youtube.com/TheYoungTurks. You can also check me out on Raw Story, where I write columns on the regular, and on social media at Anna Kasparian on Twitter and Anna Kasparian TYT on Instagram. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching the show, and never be afraid to make your point.